Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to News Café. I'm Terence Ray, and I'll be your host for the night. Tonight, we will have a delicious menu for you. We'll be covering the TelEM layoffs and the police go slow. We've seen police in action these days. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, and more right after these words from our sponsor. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to News Cafe. I'm Terence Ray, and tonight we have a very interesting program for you. We have tonight two guests, ladies and gentlemen. We have, first of all, Mr. Lutzen Evers of the SMCU Union, and we have Mr. Rogerel Mauricia from the NRPB, but tonight he will be speaking on his own behalf. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to our guests. First of all, let's bring up, yes, Mr. Rogerel Mauricia. Good evening, and Mr. Lutzen Evers. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. First of all, Mr. Mauricia, I would like to give you the word. You are officially a member of the NAPB. I'd like to know what is your role, and then we'll go over to Mr. Evers to let us know what his role is in the SMCU. But with the police force and with the justice sector, I know there are a number of unions active. We have the NAPB, you have the UPFO, the ABVO, I believe. We have the WICSU, and we also have the PSU, I believe, also attached to the WICSU. Good evening, Mr. Rogerel. Tell us about yourself, first of all.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Terence. It's a pleasure and honor to have me then in your show. And yes, I am at this moment the current president of the NPB. Momentarily, I am so far absent a leave, so everybody knew that I was a candidate in the election that passed there. Yes, I'm a really active member out for 33 years in the NPB, former Netherlands and Telis. I was for, let me say it, 25 years. I was a Congress member of the NPB, Netherlands and Telis. Then they become separate, St. Maarten NPB. I was also a Congress, and in 2018, I postulate myself to be a president, and I a president from the NPB St. Maarten from 2018 up to present moment.
Right. And besides
came from the island of Curacao. Came from the island of Curacao in 1995.
Okay, tell us exactly how many unions you have active in the police sector with the justice workers. You mentioned, of course, you're the president of the NFPB. You're right now currently on a leave of absence because of your political aspirations. But there are also other police unions or unions active with the police force. Can you outline those other unions so we know the role of the different unions in the police sector?
Yes, like you mentioned, they have APFO with their president Maarten Sharon Catalina, and we have the WITSU PSU this moment, which is Ms. Sharon Kanahita, who is the president. So those three unions are representing justice workers here on the island.
Right. Okay, and Mr. Evers, over to you. You're the representative of the SMCU, that is St. Maarten Communications Union. Tell us about yourself and your role within the SMCU.
Okay. Good night. Thank you for having me on your show. Good night to the viewers. My name is Lutzen Evers. I live in St. Maarten since 1987. I feel myself as a part of the island. I feel myself right now as a St. Maartener. I live in 36 years on the island. I am involved in unionism from my age of 26. That is around the year 1996, where I joined STTK, that became right now SMCU. In 2006, I postulated myself to become the president. And since then, I haven't got a chance to leave the presidential of SMCU.
Well, you've had a pretty active career then, and they
Yes,
don't want to let you go. So that's a good sign. Because indeed, I want to talk tonight about union activity in St. Martin. We have some very interesting development these days, especially with TelEM, as you all know, and also with the police force. Right now, indeed, I think the unions are very keen to watch this program. Once again, just to remind our viewers, Mr. Mauricia is indeed talking and giving us his opinion on the situation. He's not officially in office as president of the NFPB, but of course, his knowledge and experience and his opinions carry a lot of weight in this program tonight. So I would like for Mr. Mauricia to give us an outline of the situation in terms of the activities of the union with the police. We know right now the police is basically waiting on their payout. As a matter of fact, the governor and the minister have been signing off on decrees, national decrees, in terms of their positions within the various departments. And what everyone basically is waiting on is the payout. Can you elaborate on that situation presently, Mr. Rogel? I think you're on mute. Yeah, can you start over?
Yes,
We missed you.
I will indeed update you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, currently, yeah, we won't talk about the payout. We know that our national degree will come with a payout. So let me talk about our national degree, which put a standard and secure the future from the members of the police force, from the immigration and other justice department within the justice system. So we reached to a point, a cross point at this moment that last week they had a meeting whereby we had wanted to know answer about our national degrees, about the breakdown, how they reach that amount that is owed to the members. And the first demand, which update of national degree, I very happy that to understand that this time invite actually the board from the NFPB, because if you see, they always used to call of they always calling the NFPB the spoiled union in justice, because we always, like they say, start something. But when we start something, is because you had promised and you owe us something. So when we start something, it's because we want update about the something that you owe us. So therefore, last week Monday, the board indeed called a meeting on the working hours to get the attention and to at least to adhere the update from the national degrees. Like I said, the board was invited by the Minister of Justice in order to see how she can assist. Um, and then it was quickly again recognized and acknowledged also by the honorable minister that listen, I want to do the job, but at this point I don't have manpower. Something that we had been indicated, we have seen it all for since last year. So the board decided that okay, you need the manpower, so we will and willing to assist you in order to get the national degrees and for the members moving. And that is where we are at this moment. The minister agreed to accept the help and also indicate to the head of department that, listen, I have two people here from the police force who is willing to dedicate their time in order to speed up the process. And indeed, the members them so far are happy to hear that every week a bunch of national degrees are coming out of her office to go to come then to go to the governor in order to get signed. Nevertheless, the members also decided that the pressure this time they will maintain it, and in case it need to step up, they will step it up until everybody get the national degrees. This time we will not slow down just because this amount was paying. We want our national degree. We really want to know this is the position of each member in this prestigious force, and that this position that I carry is on a national degree printed. So yes, you hear them quiet, but that doesn't mean they are watching very keen what is that we have two of our own at this moment assisting the ministry. And I believe as soon that there is a new government, it will be continue like that until everybody receive their national degree and it is correct. So yes, that's the issue. And for me to go back a little bit, since 2018 when I became was elected, the board did told me that I will be up to a very strong challenge. At that moment, trust me, Terence, I didn't know what it was mean with that. But shortly after, when I was hit with that, and I said that okay, you could at least prepare me and not go into a meeting with this thing. But nevertheless, I make my mistake, I learn from my mistakes, them, and that is where it is now. So to me, the board from NPB, while the minister also is, enjoying of her legacy, I, as head of the board from NPB, is also enjoying from that because we form part of that together with APFO and with UPSU.
Right. Okay. I want to ask you a question shortly, but I want to let our viewers know. Some of you are trying to get into the show. Please use the YouTube link that was broadcast minutes ago before the start of the program. Use the YouTube link to connect to the show. You can pose questions later on in the show via the YouTube chat. Those watching on Facebook can also follow on Facebook, and also later on in the show pose your questions via the chat function as well. So while we continue the show, Mr. Rogel, I'm going to go over to Lutzen in a while, but before we go over to Lutzen, I would like to hear from you what exactly are the actions that the police is taking currently, what pressure is being applied to get things done, as you said. What are the actions that are now currently going on?
Okay, the
Repeat.
action that is going on is right now working according to the rule. Working according to the rule is one of those, let me say, saying that is in each organization that you work, that we're going to work according to the rule right now. We're going according to the rule, and what that's mean for police, let me put it for police, and then I will step it over to immigration. From the police, I need equipment to work. And we know from since after hurricane, police force of Maarten do not have sufficient, adequate equipment to work. We don't even have, yeah, they say we get uniform, but if you see the quality of the uniform that we have now, and it's not something, check any police officer tomorrow with the uniform that you see them with now. It is just a slap in his face because that's the uniform. They have it clean, but the way you see this uniform is like you just finished, with all due respect for any mechanic, like you finish work under a car, full of grease. That is how the uniform is. We supposed to have what we call it, the vest. The vest expired. Those type of thing are there at this moment, piling up, that when we finish with our national degree, uh, this government have to continue fixing those things, especially when it comes to the safety from the officers themselves. You understand? So right now, you see the police up there doing the utmost, driving, like we said,
Mm.
um, vehicles that long time supposed to change. You understand? And that's why sometimes police cannot reach at a location on time based on the condition from that vehicle. They have to think on their safety first for them to reach. We have the problem of building. The building every day, some pipe must burst inside it that make the work environment, the health issue for each officer a problem. We have at this moment airco that is not working. And imagine a police officer coming to work with his vest, have to stay in that room. Every time they tell you, I need to go outside to take air. Shortly, they come back out. At this moment, you know the Sahara, is an issue. They're coming back. And those type of things, to me, are issue that can resolve one time. But when you go to check with your HR, they will tell you that government do not have money to fix the airco, to buy bulb, to buy tires, and those type of things are things that we decide we're going to walk to the rules. If a police officer go check a car, they have no oil, they have no money to buy the oil, we will not drive it. We will drive it
Right.
until the oil is sufficient or the oil is enough to drive it. If a tire misses not good, we're not going to drive it. Those type of things we will use now, work to the rules in order to indeed for us to get finally what we need to get in order to make that police force the police force from 5 star that the wish by us to make it.
Right.
Immigration, work into the rules. Uh, Indeed, that they need to do it, start asking questions. Do your job. You come from abroad. Where you going to stay? How long you plan to stay? By who you going to stay? Do you have contact? And those type of questions, if you have big flight, it might create, line. But that's your job you're doing. You need to do those things in order to do your immigration requirement to the max. We can step over to custom. Custom will put 100% check. Those type of things will create line. Because
Right.
tomorrow, if they don't check, something pass, they will blame that airport, and that airport will be blamed St. Maarten, and St. Maarten will go blame the organization. So those are working to the rules examples that when we see a need to do it, they will implement it.
Right. So basically, in Dutch, we call that a stiptheid actie. You are sticking to procedures, you are sticking to the rules, and indeed, once we stick to the rules and you execute them accordingly, that indeed results in what we currently call a go slow, but it's
Correct.
actually police officers,
Correct.
custom officers, immigration officers
You're
actually
doing your
carrying
job.
out their job as is required by the rules and the laws. So indeed, we can see sometimes, like at the
Correct.
airport, we see the result of that action. Uh, on the other hand, we have Lutsen Edwards from the St. Martin Communication Union representing the workers at GB. We're representing the workers at TelEM. Right now, TelEM is a hot issue. So, Mr. Lutsen, I'm giving you the word now to tell us about the situation at the TelEM company.
Well, Terence, the situation at TelEM right now is pretty tense. It is a pretty tense situation. Uh, and the fact is that we have a management team that don't listen. And when you don't listen, it creates friction. And that's where we are right now with the situation. I have been involved in several restructuring, and this is the first restructuring that I heard and see that um, they want to execute it in 4 months. Restructuring is something that takes minimum a year and a half, maximum 2 years plus, for you to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. And right now, it is for me not going right. And as a matter of fact, we are stuck. We are stuck. We have the mediator involved, and yeah, tomorrow morning 9 o'clock we have to meet and to continue discussion, because it is impossible that out of a industry that have a company that has 126 employees, you need 68 and only 18 were placed. It is impossible. And then 50 more it's needed in order to complete the 68. And you're saying that those 50 needs to reapply. It is unbelievable, because when you reapply it is because there are new functions, and an industry of as telecom, it didn't change so drastically in order to say that so many people has to reapply. We are even concerned that there is 58 people that are becoming redundant, and out of those 58 people that are becoming redundant, their function and their job will not cease to exist. So it's those who staying back are the ones who have to execute this work. And the company has not finalized their out their artificial intelligence that they are claiming and going full digital and stuff like that. They haven't finalized. As a matter of fact, for me, they haven't even begin to install those equipments or finalize the billing system that they so claim is going to take over. And all of this burden and thing is going to fall on the employees are going to stay. And on top of that, those employees, they looking to lower the salary, so that's why we are stuck right now with management on this topic, and hoping that that we come out of this matter some kind of how amicable, and for those who are staying, to have a very good working environment, because right now I personally don't see it, and it is a very sad story, because what I understood today, I don't have the figures, the total figures correct, but I understood about 60+% of the employees has requested to leave. And
Wow.
when you see that 60+% of your staff request to leave, something is wrong. Something is not clear to them that they want to leave. Now, the only thing that is clear right now is that if you leave, you're getting 6 months additional as your payout. Yeah, that's the only thing that is clear on the table. A person that have 20 plus year working, and you're telling them that they have to reapply, and you're not stating that the years of service, the experience that they have will be taken into consideration, or they given the preference. It's not going to happen. People will say, "Oh, I could reapply, but there is no surety that I will be placed." So for that reason, they are taking the route to leave. Now, while taking the route to leave, you are losing your experience. And when you lose your experience in this kind of matters, it's going to hurt the company in the future to come. Because if you don't have your due diligence done correctly, coming April 1st, that the majority leave, what is next
Right.
for the company? And what is next for those that are staying behind?
When you say 58 persons, what percentage does that represent?
The
These
58
58 persons are the persons that the company wants to lay off.
58% are the amount that the company wants to lay off.
And what percentage does that represent of the workers?
That represent about a 55%, but now a 60
55%.
plus,
Right.
60 plus percent has requested voluntarily. That speaks volume. That speaks that they are not happy. That speaks that the restructuring is not going right. And Terence, this is not something that it wasn't informed to management. Mine, because we are right now here also we are two unions because Bixu PSU is also involved here. They are representing the managers. Some of
Okay.
the from some of the managers because some managers are our members and some are the members of Bixu PSU, and they was trying to keep Wixu away from SMCU. Because at a given moment of time, we happen to merge. So we merge. So when you merge now, you become stronger. And
Right.
when you merge, you get more information. So information maybe that was shared with SMCU that was not shared with Bixu, or information was shared with Bixu, it wasn't shared with SMCU. Now it comes together, and then when you go in to meetings together, now you are laying the cards on the table and you're seeing things more clearer because of the divide and conquer that game that was being played. You will say, but hey, we are in the same boat. This company are the company that these people who have 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 plus years, they built this company.
Right.
We are saying try to place as many as possible. You cannot have all so many new functions in a company that was existing for so many years. We are not changing from telecommunication to go sell water. We are going to sell shoes. The company will remain selling telecom. Now, the business model are things that can change.
Right.
Business model can change, but it cannot change so drastically that you need to 50 people needs to reapply. When they reapply, they're running the risk of applying for a function that may be in a lower function. And then
Of
when they
course.
apply for a function that may fall in a lower salary scale, you telling them that you will adjust the salary to the maximum of that salary scale. Now, these are people that are already accustomed of living with the salary. We ain't speaking about no children. Eh? We speak
Right.
about adults that have mortgages, adults that have children living abroad, they have loans, whatever, because this is how we live on Simadan. We, based on loans is how we live. Now, you have a loan and you have a salary that's tied to that loan. Do you know what kind of damage you would do if this person have to lose that salary because she applied for a function that happens to be in a lower scale just to maintain a job? So
Right.
I'm asking, where's the moral feeling for the people that build your company?
Right. Right. Well,
Terrence,
that's a good question, and I'm happy that you mentioned the fact that SMCU merged with the WIXU in terms of the representation within the TelEM company. How is the situation at GB? I can imagine that the GB workers would be feeling some type of solidarity or be in solidarity with the workers of the TelEM. How does those two connect?
as a matter of fact, we have been getting calls from all government-owned companies asking
Right.
us how can they assist us, how they can assist us. Now, we have the mediator involved, so putting a strike, it is something that it's kind of difficult because the mediator is involved. Yeah, so you have to go to all the meetings with the mediator and all the way where you reach to a deadlock. The mediator is the one who has to call the deadlock. When the mediator calls the deadlock, then unions have the free hand to either strike or take this matter to court.
Right. Well, that's interesting development that you're basically, I would use the word forced to work with a mediator, which makes sense because at the end of the day, we're not trying to, you know, torpedo the company. You're trying to find solutions for the worker. I remember in our previous conversation, you used the word, you literally have to be a policeman trying to protect the workers as much as possible. And that would also goes for Mr. Rogerel Mauricia in his role, literally as a police officer, but indeed also as a union representative, as president in this case. He literally has to be policing the situation as well with his fellow officers, and in terms of dealing with the management and dealing with the justice ministry. I want to ask the both of you about we just use the word solidarity. You mentioned indeed that basically all workers from all the government-owned entities, companies have been reaching out, trying to find ways and means how to assist the TelEM workers. In terms of the police unions, what are the ways and means that the police unions can also assist the workers of these other companies, Mr. Rogerel? Yeah, get unmute.
Yeah, that's a good question. And most of the time, me and Lutson that have a conversation, and this one I didn't get a chance to meet him for me to, express, my solidarity to them. And I was thinking, police had the issue. The minister was called for question hour at the parliament. So that is also because before election, this was also being brought up, pointing out, one, and now we can see it is happening. So I don't know, Lutson, if SMCU could carry a letter to Parliament and see individual from Parliament members, which is our representative, them here on the island, in order to see how they can, put a start and see deploy how they can reach solution. All those workers, because unemployment is already high. You can imagine how Mr. Lutson is putting it out. Other people are losing their job because of management. That's the only way I can put it. You understand? Contributed by us because they have been what we put it in very delicate way. They have been misled because when you apply for police, when you pass your exam, your salary is supposed to be on that scale, and as long as there's no other regulation in place in order to let me say, the old ones still have the effect, and that is why a lot of police had leave us. But TelEM, on the other hand, they're not asking to leave; they are forcing to leave. You understand? So that's why I don't know if SMCU and WITSU will ask intervention, even though they by the mediator, to see intervention from the parliament.
Now, that's a very interesting point indeed. Normally, indeed, we will see in a situation like this that the unions, the workers especially, would reach out to politicians, to member parliaments, their representative basically in parliament, to also assist with the situation. We've known for many years that that is the way to get things done in St. Maarten. You reach out to a politician, to an MP, if not the minister himself or herself. So at the end of the day, what are the responses both of you are getting in terms of feedback from our members of parliament for each of your individual situations with the police force and with the TelEM workers? Anyone can answer.
Okay, we did reach out to members of parliament because it is a situation where the middle class is being hurt. It is a situation where when the middle class get hurt, you hurt the economy.
Yep.
Because if there's no money, there is no means and ways to spend. Yeah, so we reach out to the members of parliament. They did call the prime minister into a closed door meeting because there is this secret report made by Eswa Bay that it is so secret that it was in the Daily Herald that they cannot discuss it publicly. Yeah, and they cannot discuss the financial situation of the company either publicly because it is a government-owned company, and that's the reason why it cannot be discussed publicly. Yeah, so I'm doing it sarcastically is because
Because it is ironic.
it is ironic that a government-owned company, we have to go discuss things closed door, and where your people of St. Maarten is getting hurt. Yeah, I have to deal with people here that come and then it really hurts them because they do not know what will be the next step. So
Right.
for that reason, we reach out to Parliament. Also reach out together with Wixo PSU at two occasions, requesting an urgent meeting with the caretaker prime minister. Now,
Right.
we understood, not officially, we understood that the prime minister was not on the island by the first letter, and by our second letter, that's the day she arrived. Fine and dandy. But if you was not on the island and that's the day you arrive, you have an email that pops up on your phone. It is the people of St. Maarten who maybe some of them has voted for her are reaching out and crying out for help. The decency of replying and say that their unions, I have received you all meeting requests. I am currently not on the island. We'll get back to you as soon I'm back on the island. Today we are March. Tomorrow we are March 1st. I'm talking about from the 22nd and the 26th.
Right.
Yet we have not received an answer from the caretaker prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is to show you how important the voters of St. Maarten is when we don't have election.
Well, that's a good question also for Mr. Rogel, that I would want to ask him what is the feedback from the minister, what is the feedback from the MPs, but I know you yourself has postulated yourself and ran on the, I believe, the USM party. So you also have, in that sense, access to members who are part of the coalition, the incoming coalition, as it were. What is the feedback that you're getting from that end, Mr. Rogel?
Just my personal opinion, just to reward what you just said, indeed. And I don't have to reach out specifically to the members of parliament that I run on that slate, because all of them represent me. NFPB do not have any issue so far that I am aware of, that when we do request attention from parliament, we do get it, because they know how they will behave if it's not met. Another thing I want to say, and Lutzon put it, I can say that when I came to St. Maarten, I had knew field experience 3 levels of classes here in St. Maarten: low, middle, and high class. But at this moment, there is no middle class. I'm talking in police self. We used to
Right.
be seen as middle class, but at this moment, it's low and high class. That big gap, it have to change. It have to change, and for us to enjoy the livelihood in St. Maarten. And I believe they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do. And Terrence, no matter how they see it, unions are 50% of the solution of any problem that is exists. Knowing the situation that St. Maarten is in, unions are 50% of any problem solution that you might have at this moment. And I believe if they sit and understand where SMCU coming from, if they sit and talk to NPB, APFO, of with PSU, solution will come up, and peace can be restored in any labor situation that is existing.
How many of the justice workers, police, are unionized? What percentage? It seems to be pretty high, according to me.
Yes, and that's one of the achievements that this board, I also can be proud to say, under my leadership, has increased very dramatically into membership. And we're looking forward for, I think, this year to see if we can meet the criteria in order to become a full-fledged member in the CCSU here in St. Maarten. So that for sure, my board has indicated to me that the membership have increased, and that yeah, when this year, I believe, when we submit our list, that most likely NPB, since after 10-10-10, can be officially become a full-fledged member. So that is the wish, the hope, and also that was one of my aspirations also when I become president, to bring NPB into that platform.
But what percentage, can you indicate
No,
what
I
percentage?
cannot give you a percentage exactly, but it is enough in order to, be recognized to be into that platform.
Okay, and the
For sure,
CCSU?
CCSU, that is the Committee for Civil Servants here in St. Maarten. In the past was GEWA.
Oh, yeah, so it's a Community Civil Servants Union, I think it is.
Yeah, right.
For Mr. Avers, what is by you the percentage by TelEM, by GB, and are there other entities that you all represent as union
Yes,
besides TelEM and GB?
We represent the majority employees in TelEM, including some managers. We represent the majority of employees at GEBE. So at TelEM, we are 126 employees. We have about 91 members. GB have 200 plus employees. We have above 50% of that as members, 100 plus members. We represent employees at post office. Post office also we have the majority there. But your post office has not many employees. It's about 10. I think we have 6 of them that are members. And then we represent employees at the Housing Foundation. There are not many employees, but we represent almost all employees at St. Maarten Housing.
So basically, the unions are pretty much active in terms of representation of the workers. So
Yes.
this begs the question: if the union has a majority in each case involved and represented them, how things got this far? I think both questions applies to both of you. I
Respect.
know Mr. Rogel, it's different because of the fact that the history in terms of the function book and the placement of the justice workers goes way back to 10-10-10. That's where it all started, that the justice workers were never really placed in their right functions going forward. But I see a lot of developments over the years has taken place with TelEM, and I know You have had many court cases battling TelEM management, representing the workers of TelEM, the different divisions, the different companies, and also with the cable, when the cable company merged with TelEM, there was also some legal battles there as well. So in terms of the history with the union activity, how things got this far, Lutzen, with TelEM?
Well, Terence, things got this far is because the authorities that we have here on the island do not listen. Don't listen, or if you are not political affiliated, they have a tendency of ignore you. Yeah, I have knocked on all doors here on the island since the year 2018, sounding the alarm of this case that we are in right now, the possibility of it happening because of the investment of fiber to the home, because of investment of purchasing cable TV and shutting it down, because of investment in Dominican Republic since 2010, that we haven't, the company then hasn't made a quart from Dominican Republic, with also the heavy sponsoring that the company have. I sounded the alarm by the former Prime Minister William Allen. I sounded the alarm by the former Prime Minister Romeo Marlin. I sounded the alarm by Mr. Boseman. I sounded the alarm by the current Prime Minister Jacobs. We even went so far because since all of this took place, we even went so far. We went to prosecutor office. We went to national detective. We went to integrity chamber. We all over Parliament, all over. We have requested a forensic audit where at that time, the chairman of parliament was Denisha Bryson. Denisha Bryson, together with the Prime Minister Jacobs, turn around, and they make it a operational audit. That's the reason why the operational audit cannot be used to pinpoint mismanage in the company. We did all that has to be done on this island in order to protect the people of St. Martin.
Right.
But yet, what did I receive? Oh, Mr. Avers has a personal problem with the CEO.
Right.
This is a personal problem that I had with the CEO.
Okay, we got to touch on that issue because that is an issue where you'll say, okay, there's a situation of a conflict of interest. You're the union president, but you're also a worker of TelEM. I want to stick on that issue, but I'll come back short. I just want to give Mr. Rogel the word. Being involved with the Justice Ministry over the years since 10, you've had to deal with literally 8 different ministers of justice. And tell us about that situation, that constant changing of ministers of justice, and what is the difference now that you've had a minister in office for 4 years? Tell us about how you see that situation.
Indeed, Terence, the constant falling from government also was one of the bottleneck in order to get the justice workers them issue resolved. Just like you posed the question for both of us to answer, how come it reached so far? I mean, Lutzen mentioned a couple of them. I will take all of them. What Lutzen has mentioned and then add more on it, because I can put on behalf of me since 2018 up to now, I can act respect. There was no respect, common sense and knowledge. And also, if there was knowledge, I can bluntly say no, that they was ignoring the fact that this what have to be resolved for the justice worker them will be sum up to a great amount of money. So at that moment, I call it ignoring that fact that nobody want to put the country into that. But if they had resolved it since back then, we wouldn't be in this situation now. Now that we had a justice minister that sat for 4 years, Terence, it started wrong. It had started wrong, and that at no point was the intention from especially the NPB to for it to be like it went. We was proud that we had finally probably a lady that will have understanding, show understanding, and also listen to the unions then. But shortly we realized that it is like a battle,
Right.
in the sense that okay, her ministry didn't have the proper people then that had knowledge from situation, even though we try to educate them, because you can say whatever you say, but NPB came with the knowledge from the Netherlands Antilles, and
Right.
everything is written for you in the Rijkswet. Voortgangscommissie give you indication how to go about it. So
Right.
it's not something that you have to go invent the wheel. You understand? And to us in 2016, when the Minister Karin Dongo finalized our Rijkspositie, it didn't was published.
Right.
But if the honorable minister from 2020 had just picked up that Rijkspositie, put her signature behind it, she would have been done a long time. But to us, it would be, no, I will do it this way. Okay, your way of doing it, it take you till the 31st of December. And for the 8th of January or February to be actually active. But all those years, you put the country in a great debt. Things that we was indicated. Take 2016, put your a signature on it. It will become your legacy. It could have been
Right.
done long time. But that's why I'm saying. But nevertheless, we're here today. It's not the members, it's not the unions' fault that this country have to pay a great amount of money to the justice workers. You understand? So we are trying to save, just like Luson was saying, they went all over. They went
Right.
court. We went court. They went parliament. We went parliament. We get money from sale from UTS. Where is that money now?
The money
All
finished.
those things, it vanished. It
The money
vanished.
finished, man.
All
You
those
know,
things would.
yeah, it's interesting that y'all also went court, and there were many judgments imposed on the justice minister, imposed on government, basically to pay the salaries of the police officers under threat of penalty.
Correct.
How did that work out? Because if you're under the threat of penalty for not paying the police officers' salaries or in the right scales, how that adds up? Those penalties adds up. Has there ever been any penalties paid out and compensated to the winners of these court
Yes.
cases?
Only cases that was won with penalty behind it was paid immediately, because nobody want to, nobody want to be $1,000 or 1,000 guilders every day that you don't comply with the verdict. You understand?
Right.
But then again, those were members that saved their money in order to carry court, because they were seeing that the unions wasn't doing, according to them, was doing nothing. But to us, we were saying, listen, those people will carry you court, you will lose. And when they win, when they win their cases, is those the verdict you have to use for the other ones them who is in the same situation with them. We call it gelijktrekking. So you just have to avoid another court case, just like you pay them the court verdict due to the other ones them too. You understand? So that's why this government, case by case, all of them, they was losing. there was no difference for those cases. All of them was a similarity.
Okay, well, that brings us to the point that we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we get back, we'll continue the debate and see if there's any questions from our viewers. At the end of the day, we are indeed here live. We're looking to see if we get any questions from our viewers. Our viewers indeed has the opportunity to chime in via YouTube and also via Facebook. If there are no questions, I just get a word from our producer that we can just continue the show as is. So we'll bring you guys both to the floor again. I'm playing devil's advocate here now, so bear with me. We want to have a good end with a good debate. Now, here's my situation. If you, Mr. Avers, is working at a TelEM, and you're also president at FMCU. Mr. Rogerel, you're a police officer. What is your rank? Quick question with you. What is your rank?
I'm inspector of police.
Inspector of police. So that's a pretty high rank indeed. So you're police inspector. Basically, you're part of management, as it were, and indeed, you're also president of the NOPB police union. Does that pose a conflict of interest for both of you? And my question is, would you be able to avoid that situation of a conflict of interest if you were to be a full-time president of your respective unions and have the unions pay your salaries so that you are not dependent on an income from your respective employers, so that you can have your hands free to represent your respective unions and fight the battle without any shackles on your hand from management from TelEM or management from the police force? How you all see that situation of being, on one hand, employed by that employer, and on the other hand, being a representative of the union as president to fight those union battles, labor battles with these respective employers?
Okay. Okay, it is as following for private sector, because private sector and working for government is two different things. Private sector is governed by the labor law, and the government employees, civil servants are governed by the LMA. Now, the thing is that working for a company and being the president of the union, there is no conflict of interest there. Absolutely none. We have so many jurisprudence that govern that actually companies should not interfere in an individual who's working for them while being a president of a union, a secretary of the board, of treasurer of the board. They have jurisprudence that's protecting these individuals, because at many times you find that management will try to use their position, their power, to looking to intimidate you by threatening you or accusing you, looking to get you fired. That's why we have a lot of jurisprudence for that. I personally passed through that. Where my supervisor gave me a good evaluation, and the CEO decided that the evaluation is too high for me, and he wanted to lower it. As a matter of fact, he did lower it. We have in the company a appraisal policy and appeal procedure. So I wrote a letter to the appeal committee informing them that I don't see nowhere in the appeal procedure where a CEO can change a grade that I have received from my manager, supervisor, mentor, whoever. It's not written. So for that reason, I don't accept it. And it went so far that the CEO wanted to maintain it. Then I went to a lawyer, and then we start with lawyer's letter, and the matter was settled out of court with me getting back the evaluation that I has received. Now, these are the things that you find that's being is being thrown at you to intimidate you. To intimidate you. Now, a lot of people do not know their right. They do not know their rights. And when you find people that do not know their rights, people will walk over you. Yeah. So when you are a citizen, you need to learn what is your citizen rights. You need to learn what is your rights as a president of a union. You need to know what's your rights as an employee. What you have to make sure is don't cross the lines. If you are addressing your superiors as an employee, do not cross the line and mix it with your union position.
Right.
When you're addressing your employer as a union representative, do not cross the line and start talking we as employees. You're speaking as we as union. So you need to know which position you're holding at the moment that you're talking to your superiors.
Which hat you're wearing?
Which hat you're wearing? Because when you're wearing the hat of the union, you don't have no superior.
Right.
When you're wearing the hat of the employee, you do have superior.
Mr. Roger, what is your situation? If you can elaborate on any possible conflict of interest in your position as a police inspector and as a union president?
Hey, Terrence, you want me to get fired now, man? But Terrence, I totally agree with Lutzon. It's very, very difficult, but not impossible to carry
Right.
different hat without mixing them up. I using them a lot. I carry the hat of, the head of my family. I carry the hat of supervisor of a team that I supervise.
Right.
I carry the hat when it comes to general interest, the hat of a union leader. Now, sometimes my superiors then do have an issue when it sit on table with them because sometimes to me they're going too far whereby it touch rights from members. And when I remind them that they till there is our response of authority, they turn around and sit and tell me that at this moment you are sitting on the table as a worker. You understand? And at that moment, I really have to take out the cap from as a supervisor and put the head of a union leader and let them know that okay, this time, like explain you, we're gonna reach till here because once it go over, that gray area, then I believe we do have a problem because I cannot be a head of a union representing members, and when management team come with things that will trample their rights, I am allow it. You understand? And that part, I sometimes I do have to fight to make them understand that hey, this one for sure I cannot do. And if I cannot do it, then look for another supervisor to do it, and I will be vigilant to see that the right from that member of any other member is not tampered. Terrence, I must say that my chief of police was a former union leader of St. Maarten here. So when I do speak to him, when we do have meeting, he totally understand where we come from. So um, to me, since my presidency, I never had any issue with my chief of police. You understand? But sometimes you find those others that hey, want to go to the extra without of maybe knowing that the extra they want you to do is not right. And there where indeed I just take out my head for supervisor and put the one from union and let them know. But it is not easy. I have been, to tell you plain and now lively, that I have been victimized because I stand up for members' right into that force. But here I am. My shoulder and back is broad. I will continue until my my presidency end up.
Right, right. You mentioned a very interesting fact as well, that you're also wearing the hat as a family man, because you also have to look out for the interests of your family as well.
Correct.
And I assume that's definitely the case also for Mr. Avers.
Yep.
We tend to forget indeed that
Family.
even though we try to keep a Chinese wall between our personal lives and our business life, our professional lives, at the end of the day, when you come home to your family, you still have to be able to look them in the face, look them in the eyes, and tell them exactly what is going on and what is happening in your professional life, in your labor life as well. So those three, you still have to find a balance for them. I can imagine Lutzen having to fight legal battles. It doesn't make you any friends at all with management.
Correct.
I don't want to be friends with absolutely nobody. I hear, look again. This is the kind of person I am. I thank God every day for my life. I love the fact that my children love me. I love the fact that my wife loves me, and I love my family. I am here to make friends with absolutely nobody. I am here to protect the rights of the people that chose me to represent them. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, when we finish with what we're doing, if you want to sit down and have a drink, we can. We can, because it's nothing personal. You understand? So I'm sorry. That's who I am. That's the reason why sometimes people don't like me. But yeah, nevertheless, that's who I am.
We have an interesting question from a viewer. She's asking if the present situation at TelEM can be put on hold before any final decision is made, and have a sort of re-evaluation process called for. I know you mentioned the fact that you're presently discussion ongoing with a mediator, but this question from the viewer is indeed, can the whole situation be put on hold and a sort of re-evaluation made, and to come maybe hopefully with a different solution? Is that something that has been looked at as a possibility?
Well, that is in hands of our new coalition. Only our new coalition can instruct the caretaker prime minister to put this matter on hold for it to be reevaluated. That is the only way it could happen.
For Mr. For Mr. Rochelle, at the end of the day, like I said to Lutzen, being president of the police union doesn't make you friends or any friends in the police management. But how is your relationship with the Minister of Justice? I can imagine also that the relationship can also be very contentious, given the position of the unions in terms of getting what their rights are for their members. How is your relationship with the Minister of Justice?
Which one? I passed through a lot. Which one?
Yeah, that's a good question indeed. But luckily now you've had to deal with one for 4 years now.
Okay. How I can put it? Mr. Terrence, yourself could see it. To me, I had wanted a relationship whereby understanding each other, discuss matters on table, do not agree to agree after, or agree not to agree after. That was actually what I had wanted to see into that. Healthy discussion, here and there arguing, but at the end of the day, remain focused for one when it comes to me, for my members, the benefit of the members, and to her to succeed from the beginning. But if you had see, let me say 2021, 2022, whereby I have been, called in the media making this deceitful statement, and then in 2023, is because I have political ambition. That is why I'm trying to tarnish the whole situation. Those things was uncalled for. That for sure was uncalled for, and it's only today. It's only today the rest of the members them can see that Maurice was always for them. I used to leave my own situation behind. I'm talking about situation when it comes to job related, you know, do without going to courses in order to defend my members them, do without taking position offered to me for me to defend them. That's the type of person I am. I mean, uh, Mr. Lutson put he don't want to be friend with nobody. I am kind of different. I'm a person that have empathy. What I want, you don't need to be my friend, but what we need to establish here, my position as a union leader, how we stand, and this also count for you. I'm talking about in management team level, that what I'm fighting for the members count for you too.
Right.
So
One
do
good
not
question.
disturb us.
Right. One good question also posed by a viewer is what are the unions doing in terms of also informing the general public of what's going on in their respective unions? Right now, everyone is focusing on the TelEM situation. We know of the consequences of go slow actions on the police justice sector. But what are the unions actively doing to inform the general public of what's going on?
Terence, I cannot understand the question that was posed there, because from 2018, I have been publicizing this matter.
I know.
2018.
Mhm.
Lately, it was also in the newspaper before election. As a matter of fact, it was said or put blame on SMCU that by publicizing the information, it had effect on the election. Now, the viewer is asking why or what we have done to inform the public. I was on Wendell Moore, I was in Daily Herald, I was all over, man.
Right, right.
So I don't get it.
Rochelle, you took the political platform route to bring attention to the justice workers' issues. But what has been your relationship with the media in terms of getting the word out and disseminating information about what is happening from the police unions side of the coin?
Mr. Darius, yeah, just like Lutzen, I mean, I do understand the question, but my remark will be then that viewer uh, wasn't, pay attention too much to media or social or other medias, because I for sure was one of the presidents them that always was in any platform. 721, Mr. Brown. I was with Eddie Williams. I was with the anti-poverty platform,
Oh,
always every Thursday, indicating what NFPB is going through. You understand? So to me, I believe I have to get an award to be the person that most spoke in the media. You understand? So I do understand the question, but I believe that viewer wasn't, pay attention much. And the public, and this why publicly in your platform, I would like to thanks the public from St. Maarten for the understanding that they have for the justice workers them.
right,
Because
right.
every time we decide that we're gonna get attention from the government, it's like the bad guys them is with us also. There is no crime, nothing is going on. That doesn't mean that it give us the green light to continue. But sometimes you do have to shake the status quo, and that is what was doing. You understand? And if you remember in 2022, I believe, when we decide for 2 weeks we was protesting. I mean, up and down from Whitefoot building to the government building, come down protesting. You know why we was protesting? Because we had wanted to sit with the Minister of Justice in order to address our issue. We are just seeking her attention. We were seeking conversation, dialogue with her. We sending emails, and we get one response that sparked that protest week,
Mhm.
that the only way, and still have that letter, the only way that you can sit with me is in the CCSU platform, knowing that we don't have no representation.
Wow.
That is what make
Wow.
us, knowing that we don't have no representation. And after
Right.
I was carried to court, remember I was carried to court
Right. I remember. Yes.
as Mauricia. I was carried
Correct.
to court, and then secondly, as president of the union.
Right. Correct.
The only thing we had wanted dialogue with, and the day after, we get access to be sitting in CCSU up to today.
Right.
That's only
Well,
that we
that's
was looking for.
Minor. These are the
uh
people that postulate themselves on a list to run for parliamentary election.
Yep.
Well, one viewer indeed seems to be pretty radical and wants to see action from the side of the unions, literally using the word shut down the island. And we had this discussion internally, and I must let all the
They
viewers
want
know that when I
Mauricio to come lock me up. They want Mauricio to come pick me up.
Exactly. Because I want to let the viewers know that when I reached out to both of you to join me on this show tonight, there was little hesitation. I know Mr. Mauricio had to check with his octagon, with his fellow members, indeed, to allow him to talk on his personal title in this show. But there was no hesitation, I know for a fact, for both of you to join this program and to give all the opportunity to let the public know what is indeed going on in both your respective organizations.
Yeah.
But we also talked about the fact, leading up to this show, we talked about the fact that it's not so easy as people would think to take union action in terms of shutting down things and forcing things to a point that government has to listen or sit with you at the table. It's not easy for the police. It's not easy because government can easily take the police to courts, and the judge will quickly render a verdict to have you guys take back up your job and carry out the work and duties accordingly. And I know for a fact with TelEM situation, if TelEM was to shut down tomorrow because of the action of the union workers, everybody in St. Maarten will be on their phones begging to get back.
Criticize them. Correct.
Terence, if a shutdown have to happen by TelEM, normally a injunction could take you 6 weeks. In this case, it will take 2 days.
Yep.
2 days, or maybe the same day.
2 hours.
Yeah. And then they will find a patrol to find me wherever I am on this island to bring me to court for the judge to sentence me and tell me, make sure I put it back now and pay damages. So, talking about shutting down is easier said than done. You understand? It is nice to say, oh, let's do like the French side, or let's do this and let's do that. The consequences coming for the president of the union, for nobody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you're going to make a decision, you have to strategically think how you're going to do it to have an impact on what you want to achieve and to have zero impact on you personally.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. We often tend to make that comparison with the French side and say that the French side, French people are very eager to protest and take action, while the Dutch side people are less inclined to do so. It all has its pros and cons. I believe for us,
yes, it does.
As citizens, we sympathize with the situation with all workers on the island. But at the end of the day, when it hits us personally, the consequence of actions, if GB was to shut down, no current, no TelEM, no internet, we would be very much upset. And we also see with the police workers, if the action was to take, go to the impact that traffic is deadlock on the island. You know, we
Terrence,
all be seeing the complaints on
Terrence,
social media.
the same
Correct.
people who saying that we have to take action
They will
be against
criticize
us.
you.
Because
Yes,
let's take
exactly.
a scenario, 2017, Irma pass. We had no electricity, we had no telephone, we had no water, we had nothing. Everybody was cussing. GB
Yep,
is
correct.
taking too long to put the light back. TelEM is taking too long to restore internet. Everybody was upset, right? Now
Exactly.
imagine that without Irma.
Exactly. So yeah, this shows you that there are two sides to this story. Of course, you as a union representing the workers, you cannot divulge everything that's going on within a company. This is why also why you see they want to keep closed door meeting in Parliament to discuss a confidential report that everybody, Tukumbagai has a copy of through social media. Everybody knows what is discussed in that report. At the end of the day, we cannot avoid the reality of the situation, and I can understand that our viewers also indeed wondering what can be done at this present stage. If we have 58 people, on the chopping block, as it were, but on the other hand, 60% of the people are fed up to the point that they're ready to leave. That says volumes indeed. I agree with you on that point. Indeed.
For me, it speaks volume that the people are really upset with the managing style that they are working under. Because, as they mentioned, 58 has to leave, but who are those who cause the problem or the reason for 58 to leave are staying?
Oh boy.
Are
So come
staying.
April 1st. What is happening April 1st?
That is a good question. That answer, I will have it for you tomorrow after we meet with the mediator. You
No, that's
understand? Because
all full
it is a
days.
question I also have for management. What will happen after April 1st?
Bring it here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
because
question.
yes,
Keep us updated on that. I want to wrap up the show tonight. I want to give Mr. Mauricio one opportunity last to speak, because I want to point to touch shortly on the fact that a lot of the police workers have left the police force, and I hope he's still with us. He may have been experiencing some technical difficulties. But the question that I would want to ask to Mr. Mauricio is that we have seen over the past years that a number of police officers have left the force and gone to work on other islands, whether in Kershaw, Aruba, or the Best Island. I know a number have left and gone to work on the Best Islands. So if Mr. Mauricio is still with us, I would like to get his take on that development, or else if he's not with us anymore, we will wrap up this show as is. I would like to thank Mr. Lutzen Evers, our guest tonight from the SMCU Union, and Mr. Rogerel Mauricio, police inspector, who also wears the hat of president of the NAPB. I will thank you guys wholeheartedly for your presence tonight in the News Cafe show. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you all good night and thank you for watching.
The slogan of StMartinNews.com is news, views, reviews, and interviews. StMartinNews.com is always on point with editorials and opinion pieces. StMartinNews.com is the best in political analysis, court cases, and investigative reporting. We tell it like it is. StMartinNews.com is the only news site to bring the news directly to you via email. Register today at StMartinNews.com for your free subscription to the daily newsletter and read the news on your smartphone, tablet, and desktop computer. Because we do things and view things differently at StMartinNews.com, support our work and buy a year subscription for only $75 per year. StMartinNews.com for news, views, reviews, and interviews. Subscribe today. We will bring you the news faster than Facebook.